All right, welcome back, and sorry about that delay. We're getting right back into Champions Select here to recreate that match. We're just doing the same bands or just random bands to make sure that we just get those same picks that we're supposed to have from that first Champions Select. We just had technical difficulties, just giving us a short delay. So we'll be seeing these picks come through shortly. And then we'll get right back into that first match today on stream. Again, this is Fair Fail, St. Thomas War's Fair Fail on blue side versus Shelton's Gael Goons orange. We talked about how this is possibly a preview for the playoffs coming up in a few weeks from now. These team compositions that they're drafting here, as we'll see those first picks coming through once again. Vic, talk to me about that bottom lane. It's going to be that Taric and Lucian for Gael Goons against Tristana Braum in that bottom lane. What do you think about this 2v2?
I actually think it's very close. Both, you don't see too many instances where both kind of supports and AD carries want to do very similar things in a fight. And we kind of get that here where both Braum and Taric want to get their abilities off, go for a stun, go for some kind of way to allow your AD carry to get their spell rotation off and get their damage off before the enemy has time to react. What team can do that better? I think it's going to be a skill matchup in this bot lane, and it'll be really fun to watch.
I think so. I wonder though, when it comes to the early game, let's set junglers from our minds here. Just set them aside. In the 2v2 for that bottom lane, it seems to me like Tristana might have a massive advantage in the push potential. Unless Lucian's going to burn through his mana to push the waves into this Tristana, Tristana's E passive is going to like auto push that lane, bring him close to that tower, and then you can throw that explosive bomb onto the tower to push that down and get some early global gold for your team and perhaps snowball it that way. Because we talked about how the win condition, if you may, here on the side of Fair Fail is to make sure that their carries, the Ezreal, the Tristana, get enough damage, get enough items that they can actually burn through the front line of Gael Goons.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that is the most important thing to pay attention to this bot lane. As much as they can fight similarly, as much as they, interact in lane very similar, the pushing power of Tristana is so key here. Especially if Taric, if Danger Perps on this Taric doesn't maybe go a Relic Shield, maybe going for the coin just for the mana regen, then it's even more of a push in favor of Fair Fail.
Yeah, I mean, if you go for that coin start on the side for this Taric, you're going to have more of that mana to be able to spam your heals, but you don't have that tankiness, nor do you have the execute damage for those minions, so you're not going to be able to help the push that much. I like that point there, Vic. So in the mid lane, though, I know we talked about how Annuo 1 here is master tier and probably the highest rated in this game, perhaps even by a decent margin. But with that Ignite, do you see him getting a solo kill against a tanky Galio?
The thing is, Galio isn't as tanky in the early game. He doesn't have the natural stats that make him a tank. It's kind of the item build when you get things like if you go for an adaptive helm or an abyssal mask, those are what start to allow the Galio to tank and to be, and it's a lot. Galio makes his team tank around him tanky because of that ultimate usage. So I think, yes, I actually think this Ezreal could quite easily, if he goes aggressive, get the kill. He's going to have to do something because Galio will have the lane pressure. It's significantly easier for Galio to clear these waves early than it is this Ezreal.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking, too, when it comes to pushing and trying to clear waves, Ezreal can do it relatively quickly as soon as he has a decent mana pool, perhaps a Sheen item, but not as quickly as this Galio, as you mentioned. But speaking of items for this Ezreal, on this most recent patch, we saw a significant buff, I would say, to tier stacking, where now you can get 4 mana stack, 3 different charges of it within 4 seconds. So you can get, within 12 seconds, right? So within the space of 12 seconds, you can do up to 3 stacks rather than the 2 that it used to be of 8. So you can actually stack a tier much faster if you have very low cooldown abilities, which Ezreal is the like the poster boy, right, for having low cooldown, spammable abilities for cheap costs.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this Galio, yes, he can push lanes, but he's not really going to be pressuring the Ezreal as much without like help from this Warwick. So that was one of those instances that I was saying we could see the blue build Ezreal really come in here because he's not against something like Syndra or Cassiopeia or Victor that's going to kill him while he's trying to stack that tier.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Vic. I like noticing that there's the opportunity, if you may, for Ezreal here to take an aggressive summoner spell, even though he's a marksman, even though he's like a caster, not having to take a defensive summoner spell because you have that mobility, because you're not pressured by some high burst mage, then you do have that safety and you can be slightly more aggressive with your choice of summoner spell. Excellent point. So as we're about to get into loading screen here to get onto Summoner's Rift, we're excited to have you join us again. I'm Superman. I'm joined here by Vic Sharp. We're watching St. Thomas More's Fair Fail here on blue side take on Shelton's Gael Goons Orange. This match will be the first for today on stream, and we'll follow it up with Farmington Pioneers against New London's Whaler Esports later on this afternoon at 4:30. So stick around for that. We're loading here onto Summoner's Rift for Season 1, Week 3 for EGFH's League of Legends tournament. So I'm excited for this match. It looks to be explosive. It'll probably be a long, drawn-out, gritty fight here on Summoner's Rift. So thanks for joining us. We're going to load here on Summoner's Rift. Vic Sharp, I want to know, what do you think about this top lane? We talked about pretty much everything else. Shen versus Darius. Who do you see having the advantage up there?
I think it so much depends on junglers. Like, it's hard to look at this lane in a 1v1 because Darius should have the push or should have some semblance of lane pressure until Shin can get something like the Tiamat or even maybe a completed Hydra.
Yeah, I mean, a completed Hydra is kind of intense. Oh, it looks like I'm losing you, Vic.
Does that open ground? Darius? Not just a
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
All right. So it looks like we're just going to have those standard level 1s here. You know, you're not going to see any sort of explosive fights at the level 1. Normally you do see Braum or Taric actually wanting to be rather aggressive at level 1. You know, you can have Taric looking for a stun that could go through a whole team potentially. And Braum, of course, very strong level 1 damage from his concussive blows on top of that Winter's Bite, while, of course, applying that crowd control for people to follow up the damage. So could have explosive level 1s. Looks like it's not going to be the choice this time around for level 1, but we're now loaded onto Summoner's Rift, and we've been talking about how that bottom lane, as I'm going to get my co-caster back with me shortly, that bottom lane where it looks like it'll be decent farm lane, not too much aggression since it's very difficult for either one of these supports to really force fights without the other team first aggressing upon them. So it seems like bottom lane will mostly just be a farm lane until, of course, the junglers make a difference in there. But as we look to see those junglers starting their first buffs and then, of course, doing their full jungle rotations, this mid lane gonna be explosive as the first CS of the game gets taken by that Israel mid. 1 CS, not quite a lead, but as you can see, he's taking a little bit of poke. He'll do these trades as he looks to be stacking up Fervor as his keystone. If he can keep trading auto attacks while not taking significant damage from the actual abilities from this Galio, then he'll actually be able to bully out that Galio. I mean, Vic pointed out earlier that this Galio isn't actually that tanky. Level 2 for the Ezreal. Ignite actually comes through. There's the Arcane Shift available, and that's going to be first blood in the mid lane. That Galio, not made of stone yet. He's more like styrofoam, and he burns up to that Ignite from Ezreal. That's just going to be a simple Ignite kill in that mid lane as this Ezreal 10 CS up. Super fed already with 400 gold in his inventory from that first blood. Absolutely well played, forcing that level 2 and getting the flash as well as Galio's forced to TP back in. But really well played by that Ezreal. And as we're just taking stock of the rest of the map, you'll note that down here in this bottom lane, it really is just that farm lane. We got Targon's, the relic shield, excuse me, from both these supports, so they're both gonna contribute to sustain as well as pushing. So, Vic, welcome back. Did you catch that Ezreal kill? That was insane.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, technical issues on my side. Apologies for that, for the stream and but no, but it's exactly what we were talking about, Superman. That Galio isn't tanky just from his natural stats.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to be some sort of a gargoyle. Oh, we do have a gank mid, though, as the Gragas does seem to get there. Nice pull away from that Galio. He's going to get away, but up in this top lane, this Darius just hammering on Shen, forcing a flash.
Yeah, action across the map, and we talked about, you know, the fact that this Darius could push Shen in. He does have the trading potential early on in this game, and that is a massive minion wave under Shen's tower now.
Yeah, luckily he wasn't so low that he can't actually continue to farm here underneath the turret. So, JB, you're on the Shen, not set terribly behind. He'll just have to practice his last hitting under turret here, as the Darius definitely has pressure up there. So, as we look at how these junglers have been playing, though, it seems that Warwick has been doing a full clear as the side camps, the Gromp and the Krugs here on blue side haven't actually been secured yet by this Gragas. He picks up the vision, prioritizing those scuttles over his own camps. Nice deep vision for his team so that they're trying to track this Warwick a little better. But is that going to do enough to set his team in motion? Or is it just going to be the solo kill pressure out of mid lane that will make the difference, Vic?
I think the ward helps because you have to kind of guess where Warwick is. And it seems like that the Gragas has done a very nice job of that. I do actually agree in this instance with Warwick going for the full clear because he doesn't have much crowd control on his kit, and his lanes don't have a lot either. But we're looking for a gank bot.
Well, that's a lot of damage already going down on a Tristana. Half her health gone. She's going to trade a little bit there, but Warwick's in the wings. He did walk over those wards and the scuttle, so they know he's there. Interesting that they would even allow the Gael Goons to take that trade, right? If Tristana and Braum know that the Warwick is close, it's very scary for them to allow aggression to come their way, knowing that it's a 3v2 scenario if the Warwick actually enters the lane.
I think that's partially Superman why they didn't really fight back. It looks like they kind of just allowed Gael Goons to get their spell rotation off and then try their best to back away. If they had tried to fight that, absolutely the Warwick, but the Shen not having a nice day.
Oh my goodness, full stack from that passive. There's going to be the cooldowns coming back through, and now Shen down to only 250 health with at least twice that much still available in the health bar for Darius. He's going to force that TP out of the Shen, which gives less pressure as soon as Stand United can actually come through as an available spell.
Yeah, and it's important for this Darius to do something. Well, Warwick's looking bot again.
The stun doesn't quite through. That's the flash forward from the Tark to try and get the stun. The fear was a nice little bit of crowd control, but really nothing doing. No summoner spells blown on the side of Fair Fail, but actually a possible Fair Fail flash here from the Tark, being a little bit slow on his choice to do that, as there's a lot of damage in mid lane. Amnua1 uses the ultimate. Oh my goodness, 280 damage of an ultimate. Gonna absolutely delete this guy out. And level 5 Warwick gets the fear down onto this Ezreal. Ezreal's arcane shield comes through. Nice flash from this. The last auto would have done it, but the nice ultimate from the Shen actually saves the Ezreal's life in mid lane, not allowing that mini shutdown to come through. Really nice communication from Fairfail's team.
Yeah, and a bit of disaster for Gael Goons. You said it, Superman, when the Galio was picked. They've learned from last week. It wasn't the super squishy Azir that's going to die twice or 3 times in lane. We're 7 minutes in, and he's down 25 CS. Down 2 kills. It is going to be blue build entry.
Oh, but this could be a little bit more of a disaster if actually Gael Goons might be able to get something back. They don't. The Tristana hops away, but that's a lot of damage and a little bit more pressure down here in the bottom lane as Warwick gets a ton of move speed as he's running down. He's going to pick up that blue and then likely be looking at that bottom lane with his ultimate that he'll get off of the blue buff. Not actually sure if this is the smartest move here. There's a nice heal comes through, and that's a couple more autos might do it. The exhaust comes through. Oh my goodness, the hop forward from the Tristana is actually going to last hit the very last tick of damage for this Lucian. Tristana walking forward without her summoner spells. There is a Warwick in the wings. They do have a pretty good idea that he's there. The ward in the river is actually going to catch him out, so that's a really aggressive play here from that Tristana. Neither one of those AD carries had spent their gold, 50 plus CS for each of them, and now at this point, it's Tristana getting a really good kill, but it was a nail biter for sure.
Yeah, I don't know who that was more aggressive from, Superman, the Tristana or the Lucian. Flashing aggressively, dashing aggressively. You don't want to be that close range to a Braum. We talked about how quickly this Tristana can proc that concussive blows, and we saw it there. If that's an AD carry that takes a half a second more to get the 4th auto attack, he's dead.
Yeah. And speaking of the concussive blows, you got to give props here to this Braum, able to get that exhaust perfectly timed to not only save the life of this Tristana, but also bait the Lucian into really a bad spot for that last second there at the end of that little trade. So really well played by that Braum. And we did just see on your screen the double CS lead in the top lane for this Darius is starting to rear its ugly head, right? This Shen has Ninja Tabi, first item, now a cloth armor additionally picked up on top of his Dorn shield, but he still can't even farm. Under his own turret, nonetheless. Like, he has lost his teleport from getting bullied out before. He had to use a Stand United to miss out on even more waves to save the Azrael's life. Hopefully his team can carry him because top lane seems to be the one place, if not bottom lane, with a little bit of a CS advantage from this Lucian. It looks like top lane might be where Gael Goons want to funnel their resources to try and use that advantage.
Yeah, but they're looking for a fight in bot.
Yeah, it's a nice ultimate there from the Warwick. Gonna suppress Braum for enough that he doesn't actually get his ultimate off. Braum just gonna fall before he can use that cooldown. I think it's actually rather better for him to have not wasted that spell usage, knowing that he was going to die anyway. It looks like this is going to be the first kill that was picked up for Gael Goons, and then they're going for this rather early, I mean, it's 10 minutes in, but rather early Ocean Drake.
Yeah, and it's good from them to get this while this is still a game in lane phase, because I think that is when the Ocean Drake shows the most power. And the point you were making about top lane, Gael Goons, it seems like, is going to live and die by the top lane in this game, because they really don't have much of an advantage elsewhere across the map, except maybe AD carry.
Yeah, and we did see in last week's games for Gael Goons, oh, nice flash there. The ultimate will actually pull the Galio back in. There's a TP coming through for this Darius. Remember that Darius is very strong. There's that combo you talked about, Vic. The ultimate from the Taric actually keeping people invulnerable as they're able to turn things around on a flashless Ezreal. And that's going to be an ultimate used by the Darius underneath the turret. Flash used by both of them. There's one more Q will actually do it, and that's going to be a dead Shen. Flash is used by both of these top laners, and immediately 1,000 gold trades hands. Now going backwards in favor of Gael Goons, and they've got pressure in this top lane, a massive wave. Darius might actually get first turret, Vic.
That would be massive, but that is a word of warning, Superman. Do not cancel a Darius ultimate when he is ahead of you and when he is mad at you. All Shen had to do to stay alive there was let Darius TP down to the mid lane. He probably wouldn't have gotten really much of anything because of how close that fight was already decided by the amazing combo from Gael Goons. Instead, Shen just allows Darius to use all of his spells on him.
Yeah, really good point. Canceling the teleport from your enemy laner can really serve your team well in some situations, but oftentimes it actually means suicide on your part, and it turned out to be that turned out to be the case this time through. Now there's actually a gold lead in favor of Gael Goons.
That play mid lane could be so big, shutting this Ezreal down before he maybe got too far ahead, getting this Galio just a little bit of an advantage, and really showing that that combo works, and maybe putting Fairfail on edge a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if I were Fairfail here, I'd be rather stressed about the idea that the Taric ultimate and the Galio ultimate together, basically each of those spells making your team invulnerable, right? The damage reduction, oh my goodness, there's a fight down here in the bottom lane though, as there's a little bit damage just traded. It always seems to be how it goes. The stun actually lands on Tristana, and then you get a little bit of a burst potential from the caster-esque abilities from Lucian, but then Tristana jumps away, tries to use some potions, gets back into it. But Vic, talk to me about how The Galio ultimate and the Tark ultimate can make so much pressure here.
I don't know that I'm gonna have time to, Superman.
Well, it looks like Warwick does try and save the Tark's life, but it looks like he sacrificed his own. The last hit actually kill credit goes to this Gragas here. A flash forward, but he's way in front of his whole team. Dreamy L here. A couple more autos might have taken him away, but the double shot passive doesn't come through from Revolution. Jumping forward, there's going to be the Buster shot, and that's not actually enough damage as the ultimate actually wasn't used. Lucian down to 100 health, 200 health, and now he's actually dead, and Ezreal gets his 3rd kill of the game. 3 assists for himself as well. But Darius is up there in the top lane. That was the Shen ultimate coming through to make sure that Ezreal didn't die to the turret, but this top lane, 106 CS, second most in the game with a kill to his name. Darius could be the win condition for Gael Goons.
Yeah, and that fight kind of started out so clustered. You see what happens when Gael Goons kind of aren't on the same page or aren't the ones starting the fight. They weren't able to get any sort of a combo off. Warwick just was alone in front of 4 people, and a great play by Dreamy, who has been playing spectacularly on this Braum so far in this game, flashing in, doing what he needed to just give the rest of his team time to make an extended dive happen.
Yeah, flashing forward for that Winter's Bite into an exhaust to slow his target. That's just so much aggression, and it seemed like very crazy to me when I was watching it here because he was jumping so far in front of his whole entire team. Running forward. Oh, we do have the concussive blows. Gonna get stacked up there. There's the stun comes through. Tristana on the edge of that stun from the Tark. Doesn't actually get through. There's the slow from another Winter's Bite. And these give a heal back towards this Tristana. There's a lot of damage. Warwick comes. He has his ultimate in just a few seconds. We'll be able to get it. There's the stun that comes through. That's Braum gonna take so much damage. Tark ultimate doesn't actually come through on himself, but it's going to get a little bit of damage reduced by this Lucian. Oh my goodness, he's still caught out. No summoner spells available, and that's gonna be a double kill for Scumbag Dreamy L, but he did indeed set up that play for his team, so a well-earned couple of kills for himself.
He's the carry of the team, Superman. I will always be in favor of the support taking the kills, but oh, Shen.
Oh, Shen underneath his turret again, takes the ultimate to the face, and now there's going to be a Galio ultimate that actually interrupts a few people under the turret, and it knocks away, the Buster Shot actually knocked away the Warwick, extending the straight underneath the turret, laughing at Onions here, takes a nice couple of crits, and there's a last tower hit, actually not enough damage! Not enough damage, the Gragas actually lives. What a disaster for Gael Goons. It seems they just don't even have a turret down there. I mean, now it's actually destroyed, but that bottom lane turret seemed to be a non-factor in the minds of Fair Fail when they're like, do we want to kill bottom lane? Is there a turret? Wait, what do you mean turret? We don't care about turrets. Let's just dive.
Yeah, and one thing I have to point out, I looked at it when it was first purchased, Superman. Galio went first item Rod of Ages. He is not any kind of tank or really any kind of damage now because of that build, and we saw it in that dive. If that's a tank Galio or even maybe a damage Galio after the changes, they get a little bit more there. Instead, Galio comes in and gets 1 kill and keeps Warwick alive for like an extra half a second.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Vic. I think perhaps if they can stall this out, then the gold efficiency from a stacked Roa might actually redeem him a little bit, but in this, you're not going to get to a late game if your early game is so sacrificed by building that slowly and like not having the tank potential here. But we do have the second dragon as Herald's being taken on the top side. That's another Ocean Drake. Will we see it taken by Gael Goons, or will it just be left on the map?
Yeah, looks like they're backing out, but, you know, talking about the game lasting, this game's been so accelerated. There's been 50k gold on the map between these teams in 16 minutes. The fact that there's been 15 kills, 2 towers, and maybe a 16th kill here on Darius.
I don't know what kind of fight he's trying to pick here. He knows that 4 of them are pretty close. As soon as he saw them, he still was trying to trade autos with the concussive blow passive of this Braum. I'm not sure what he was thinking there. He's the one lead from his team, and now he just tossed it away. We'll have to see if they can actually bring it back here. Gael Goons on their back foot finally. 5k down, only 17 minutes in, and you can see this Ezreal. Now 5-1-5 with his core 2 items completed.
Yeah, Superman, it looks like we get the best of both worlds. We get Triforce Ezreal with the blue build Ezreal. He's got that stacking Monamune. I'm trying to actually look at how many stacks it has. He's just stacking it so quickly.
It looks like to be only a few more minutes before he actually completes the full stacks there. Darius TP's in. He's got a lot of movement speed with that Raptor's Cloak, meaning when he's near... Oh, he gets a nice pull onto the Tristana, but he's alone, separated from his team once again. Nice Buster Shot actually separates him further, and that's going to be a nice reposition. The ultimate goes through! Darius gets a kill, and there's going to be the Tark ultimate, and it's tried to back off this... Braum gonna actually create some distance, but here's Annual 1. He's got those 2 core items and putting out so much damage. Nice body box fear from the Galio, but it looks like the Stand United comes through. Nice ultimate there coming from the Shen. He's gonna join his team. Annual gets down to 200 health. Nice shield comes through from the Braum. That's gonna be the Relic Shield dealing just a little bit. Nice arcane shift forward. Annual deals enough damage to create enough of a health bar deficit, and somehow they're all alive. What do they do? It seems that no matter what turret it is, where it is on the map, the blue team can't die.
If you would have told me that the team playing against the Galio Taric is tower diving every like 2 minutes at this point and winning, I would have asked you to like recheck the team comps, because yes, you have Shin to get that single target shield, but there's so much shielding that it's being played beautifully from Fairfail that they're kind of baiting all of the shielding out from Gael Goons before they start the tower dive. The Targ ultimate hasn't been up for like a single one of these tower dives. The Galio's either been a little late, or just not tanky enough to really do much when he gets there.
Yeah, geez, and now it's about a 7k gold lead now in favor of Fairfail, and they've been executing these dives so beautifully. You talked about how they've been baiting out the main tank spells, right? The Tark ultimate, the Galio ultimate, making sure that those aren't available for when they actually choose to execute these dives. They've been juggling that tower aggro so incredibly well, trading out the aggro onto healthier members as some members get lower and lower, so really well played there. 16-5 in kills, 2-1 in turrets, so still kind of close in the global map pressure, but there are so many more items here in the inventories for members of Fairfail as they're going to use this Rift Herald in the mid lane. Nice pulling from Lucian is going to get blocked out most of it, but Warwick is pathing there. Oh, pretty bad. He's not actually going to live. Oh my goodness, nice stick from the Tark. But there's going to be a redemption coming through from Fairfail as Tristana was actually picked off. It could be a nice reset of the dunk there. Only 100 health means he's going to fall to that ultimate from the Ezreal. Ezreal actually going to get picked off by kill credit going to Tarek, and that's a red buff Tarek. He's going to get healthier. Oh my goodness, nice suppress from the Warwick, turns things to the ground. There's the Tarek ultimate. They could just dive, and this is going to be deja vu, but in the reverse, Vic. They actually get a dive of their own, successfully off a trade of 1 for 4. And they're going to take another turret. This is an explosive game, Vic.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of an overextension there from Fairfail. They're like, hey, we have Herald. It might have even been running out. We saw that taken so long ago. Are they going to look for Baron here, Superman?
Oh my goodness, they might actually be looking for Baron. I mean, they are kind of tanky, right?
We'll see how this goes, but that fight in mid, Tristana made the mistake of getting picked off. She was dead immediately in the fight, and it really allowed them to turn because they could focus on everyone that wasn't named Ezreal and just kill his team around you.
Yeah, really good point. It looks like Lucian's stuck in a pit. A couple autos from the Baron might have actually done it enough as Tristana's going to step forward, forcing the flash over the wall from this Lucian. A little bit aggressive of a play. Not really sure if that was the correct option, as now they're forced to base for health, but that means the Baron's available for Fairfail to actually take.
Oh, we're gonna see a dance, Superman. It's gonna be interesting. Do they look for the fight, or do they just try and keep people out of the pit? The Warwick is there if he wants to go in for it.
Yeah, with the ultimate from their Gragas creates distance, and he is a level up on this Warwick, so it doesn't look like there's going to be much of an option there. Oh, the slow, nice landing from that Randuin's Omen. Really nice usage there from Barcode here. He's nice play on that Gragas to ult away the Warwick and make sure that he creates that space to secure Baron for his team, and then actually gets the catch.
Yeah, and now with Baron, they can finally crack this mid tower that they wanted so badly with that Herald that led to that fight. Might have given Gael Goons a little too much confidence to think they can go for Baron right after it, but the demolition is back on schedule.
It seems to be. We're just going to see, as you mentioned, demolition falling. Nice stun onto the Ezreal, but there aren't actual damage members here just yet. We've got the Darius flanking around. He's walking from that top lane as Danger Perps here on the, oh my goodness, the Taric. He just gets deleted by this Ezreal, and here's that Galio ultimate coming through. Nice damage reduction, gets a couple of knockups, but the ultimate comes through from the Shen, putting a shield on the Ezreal, so Ezreal can just stand there and auto attack. Nice taunt comes through, and there's going to be a Lucian with no health remaining. One more auto does it, and it's a crit, and that's going to be so much damage coming through. That's a double kill, a triple kill for this Ezreal, an ace. Only 23 minutes in, they're on this inhibitor with Baron buff still on them. 9 seconds before a support comes through to try and contest this. They might be able to end the game, Vic.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna go for it. That was just, again, just slight, too little too late, it seems like, from Gael Goons' poor Taric.
Yeah, he's just trying to do whatever he can to try and delay the ending of the game. He might have done it. There's 8 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds on some of these members coming out of the base, but now the Nexus is open and they've got 2 80 carries on it. I don't know if there's much of an option here, as they do get the redemption coming through. That's not going to be enough damage. Only a couple thousand left on the Nexus. 100 more health auto attack on Duo 1. Master tier Ezreal. 12-11 gets the last hit for 50 gold on that Nexus. Congratulations. What a well-fought match from both of these teams, Vic. But somehow the victory, that siege, as you said, Demolition Derby on schedule. The Nexus falls 23.5 minutes in. Summoner's Rift owned here by Fairfail.